Ladies and gentlemen, strike teams are now being deployed to farms in California's Central Valley to ensure that appropriate distancing and worker protection measures are being taken. Looking at this article, the country's most productive farmland happens to now be one of its worst COVID-19 hotspots. Just as the meat packing factories that are the central points of failure in our country's meat process happened to be hotspots around the nation, and that caused millions of livestock to be culled because farmers and ranchers had no place to take their animals. Just as that happened earlier in the year, now that it's harvest season, so too does California's Central Valley happen to be one of our biggest areas of concern, according to Governor Newsom. It just happens to be there where 25% of all American food is grown. That's more than half of all fruits, vegetables, and nuts. And mind you, America doesn't just feed itself. We are still feeding and exporting a lot of food to a lot of countries around the world. So when Newsom and these advocacy groups target 25% of all of America's food production and start sending in strike teams to ensure that they are shut down and that we don't produce food. Ladies and gentlemen, this is what it looks like when you shut down the food supply of a nation, indeed of the world, in the big picture here. Now, this path has been paved over the past few months, as I've covered, by Ontario, where advocates started demanding that they shut down farms. That's literally what they're calling for here in order to protect harvest workers from getting sick. They then started doing mandatory farm worker testing, which of course means mandatory farm worker testing false positives, and so they would go in and shut down the farms without even thinking, what about the food? What about our food production? We're just effectively shutting down farms here because of this coronavirus test results. We're getting a lot of the same things here now in the United States, now that it's starting to be harvest season here. It's not just the Central Valley. Here are more communities in Washington where already earlier in the year, Governor Jay Inslee said, it's too dangerous to go outside. Don't even bother harvesting the apples. Just stay inside, put on your mask. We're not going to worry about food this year. We're going to let it go.
In the summer months, the tiny community of Brewster, Washington on the shores of the Columbia River becomes the heart of America's apple industry. Those workers are now at the heart of a massive surge in coronavirus cases that has made Okanagan County one of the hardest hit areas in the world.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is what it looks like to shut down the food supply